Hey YouTube, Natchez 860. Smoking the Saturday Savinelli with some haunted bookshop. Chapter 8 of Work History. This will most likely be my most favorite installment of the work videos. It was midsummer 1982. Friday afternoon, I was driving home, ready to get off the highway where our office is located. I was going to just drive right by the office and head home. My beeper went off, so I figured, well, I guess I'm stopping at the office. Pulled in, went inside, and the usual crowd was there. And Larry was there with this big grin on his face. Looked like the cat that swallowed the canary. He says to me, "Come on upstairs." So I go up to his office with him. On the office floor was a blueprint. I was kind of eyeballing it. Looked like a site map of somewhere, had a bunch of buildings on it. He says to me, "I just signed the biggest contract that we've ever had and that we'll probably ever have in the future." Of course, I was really curious as to what he had done. So he gave me the story of this place that was under construction just a few miles up the highway from the office. A few miles up the highway and then out in the sticks a couple of miles. There was a nursing home in Boston that had been around for ages, non-profit, and they had millions and millions and millions of dollars. But their little nursing home was on this little tract of land in Boston. They couldn't do anything as far as expanding or anything else. There was another nursing home, non-profit, the one that is right up the road from the office. It sat on 100 acres of land. But the nursing home itself was as poor as they come. They had no real cash assets to speak of. In 1975, these two facilities got together, decided to merge, and what they wanted to do was create what's now called a life care village, where people can go in, let's say for $126,000 they can buy a house, live in the house until their health deteriorates, possibly move into like an assisted living place that's right on site. From there, move into a nursing home that's right on site. And they're guaranteed health care for life. So Larry's explaining all this to me. And I was waiting for how I fit into all this. He said, "This place is so huge, it's going to require and they demand a district manager to run it, the housekeeping and the laundry. He says, you're the only one with the laundry experience. He says, none of the other guys want to take this on, so it's all yours. I was getting pretty excited because this was something that was brand new. It sounded like there'd be a lot of flexibility in how I could run it. So he said to me, next week, whatever day it was, Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, he says, you have an interview with the director and the administrator. So that day came, met with the executive director and the administrator. They said, we're planning on opening sometime in September. It was still under construction. And the first thing I was going to have to do was figure out how I was going to run the place. And then the building contractor had hired a cleaning company to do a cursory cleaning after construction. But I was going to have to go through with a crew and make sure that everything was tip-top, because the people moving into this place were very well-to-do and expected the very best. If I remember correctly, it was 100 townhouses, 43 apartments for independent living. There was, I think it was 80 beds, level 3, we now call that assisted living. And then a fully functioning, I think it was a 120 bed nursing home. Huge site. So by the time I started in there, was getting the place ready for occupancy in September, getting everything lined up. We had to go out and buy a special truck that would go around to the 100 townhouses to clean those. I had to figure out how to clean the 43 apartments as well. And then the big challenge was the level 3 assisted living, which was a fairly new concept. This whole thing was a new concept in New England, but the regulations weren't totally in place on how to run a place that was assisted living. So I pretty much had to run it in the beginning like a nursing home and then scale back once I was able to figure out what the state was looking for. So that's the story on that big project. When I pick up in the next video, I'll just rehash that a bit, mention a few other things, and then we'll move along to the next chapter. Thanks an awful lot for joining me. Take it easy.